You know how Mommy and Daddy said not to judge a book by its cover? That's exactly what we do on this show. We do not read these books. Candace and Jess are professionals. Please do not try this at home.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us. You're listening to Candace and Jess judge books on their cover. My name is Jess.
I'm Candace.
So, starting it all off, I'd just like to put a thank you out there to Darcy Boone for doing that little intro at the beginning there. Thanks a lot, Darcy.
Thanks, Darcy.
And I'm actually going to bring up something that we talked about. We talked about the new intro music, but we never sort of told you who did it. So, we're going to put another little thank you out there, and we're going to just leave it there, but we're going to say thank you to our friend DJ Nick Soapdish for putting that together for us.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you very much, you soapy bastard.
Oh my gosh, you soap so well, and Atomic Beach is the beach I want to be on.
Yeah,
that's the name.
It's a great beach. Now, Candace,
yeah.
Do you know what we're not going to talk about today on Candace and Jess judge books on their covers?
What's that?
We're definitely not going to talk about vomit for any extended period of time.
Right. Yeah, no, we're not sure how that went over, but no, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with leaving the vomit in the toilet and doing a little, there we go, talking about vomit.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, well, we need to, let's steer this boat away. I mean, I don't know, we could just leap into a bit of a review or a judgment.
Yeah, did you bring a book, Jess? You got something for us?
Yeah, I mean, I did bring a book in, and I mean, I kind of feel weird just like, because normally we have a little bit of chat, a little bit back and forth, but I'm really feeling this book today.
And a little birdie told me that we got a lot of information to get through about this book. So
last night, I was not feeling this at all because I left everything to the last minute, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was doing like the pacing around the house by myself, and I had 6 books in front of me, and I'm like looking at them. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I had them all sitting in the room or in my bedroom, and I would leave the room and I would pace around the house, and I would kind of, it would be like I was talking to myself, and I'm sort of
creative
waggling
madness,
my arms
everybody.
and in the air. Yes, this is welcome to the process.
Yeah.
And
hands up in the air.
Put your hands up in the... Anyways, and so I was... and I'd come back in the room, and I'd kind of look at the books, and I'd sort of pick one out and be like, you! And, it's sort of like I'm grabbing it, I'm shaking it in front of me, like, what's going on? Which book is it going to be? Then this is when the best thing happened. Can I tell you what that was, Candace?
I'm all ears. You can see me. I'm literally covered in ears.
Mm-hmm. So the best thing happened, and that was Mel came home, and I asked her.
Everybody, just in case you don't know, Mel is Jess's beautiful, wonderful, amazing girlfriend. And we will continue to reference her just by her name, Mel. So if you can't figure that out, then come back to episode 7. Take a little listen. That's all you need to know. I'm sorry, Jess.
She's truly amazing, and she is the light of my days and nights too. It gets bright there. It's fantastic. And so I told her my predicament, and she said, without missing a beat, do the watermelon book.
Oh, I love her.
And so I did the watermelon book, and so we chatted a little bit back and forth, and then I began to write. And then partway through that, I smoked some pot, which I normally don't do. And then I kept writing, and it was great because that ball kept rolling. And I just kept, I was feeling it, and it was good.
Odd roll. It's like,
yeah.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. But yeah.
Yeah.
Watermelons roll.
So normally I have a very definite idea of what the book is about. And I'm just saying, like, this book is this. And here's the story. This is what's going on with the book. But this one I was split, and I went two directions. And so I wrote the possibility of that this book has two stories in it. Or this book could go this way, it could go that way. This is kind of a choose your own adventure.
Well,
so
they do
Candace,
say that there's two sides to every story. Sorry,
I am going to say... Well, what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to say. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a question for you. So I'm going to put the control in your hands.
Woo!
I'm going to say, I'm going to give you two options for this book. So the first option is that this book, Death is Forever. Here, I'll hold it up so you can get a little refresher on what's going on there.
Cover. I really feel like I could get a tattoo of this cover. It's that good.
So this is Death is Forever by Maxine O'Callaghan.
Beautiful name, too.
This book, I want you to make the choice here. Now, is this book about a serial killer that targets fruit? Or is this a book about zombie fruit? Now, while you think about that, I am going to say there is a right answer, or a slightly more right answer, between the two. Because there was one option that I was feeling a little bit more, and then one that I also was feeling, but...
I'm going to go with zombie fruit.
Zombie fruit?
That's what you wanted, right?
Okay. Actually, no. That one I get to make. But you know what, Candace? Just for you, we're going to do a quick plow through of that, and then we'll get to the other one.
Okay, just really
because
quick.
You actually...
I was going to go for the first one first, but...
Yeah, but I think I know why you chose zombie fruit.
Why?
And I'm going to just get into like what this one is all about. So, are you familiar with George A. Romero?
No.
No? So, George A. Romero, he directs movies. Specifically, the movies that he directed were those, I believe it was The Dawn of the Dead, and then those ones. So he's directing all these movies with the zombies and those kind of feel. He taught us to fear the dead coming back to life with a taste for human flesh and human brains and all that kind of stuff. Yes, my goodness, he's so spooky. All those movies that I can't watch because I can't do that. Sorry, I can't do that. We're going down we're going down the vein of horror movies that Jess can't watch, and that's all of them.
And that Candace does watch, but doesn't put it together who directed them because she's a...
Mm-hmm. Well, I did a touch of research here, just to make my points clear. So, the next movie down this road is before we get to the Death is Forever kind of thing. I'm referencing movies, but this next one is actually a book, and that's Pet Cemetery, written by Stephen King. He wrote books, and apparently has a crown. I can assume by his last name. Now, I didn't do as much research on Pet Sematary than I did with the rest. Most of my research on that particular book and movie was based around my knowledge of the Ramones song by the same name.
Right, which I was just chomping at the bit to yell that out.
And that's kind of why I felt that you went the zombie fruit route, because you knew it was there. You knew that was there was the nugget of information that was the Ramones song. And so I'm pretty sure Pet Cemetery taught us not to bury our animals in cursed ground, or otherwise they'll come back from the dead and be evil or something like that. I don't know. Again, there was the element that we discussed earlier that Jess was smoking pot while doing this, so he kind of glazed over a couple. Actually, he glazed over for real. Hey.
No.
But now we get to the root of the matter, and that is this is Maxine O'Callaghan. She has taught us a new kind of fear. Now, behind almost every house, you find a compost pile where scraps are
where
left
the
to
pets
decompose.
are buried.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to say the fruit is buried. The fruit and vegetables are buried and sort of left in a heap. Yes.
Yeah.
We're sort of steering away from Pet Cemetery.
You know that Pet Cemetery is like, it's me and my little sisters like getting drunk and I love you song. It's our, and we did have a compost pile out back where we did bury all our pets. That's literally true. So
yeah,
you can check with her. She lives a couple streets away from you, so you can ask her.
I'll next time I pass her on the street, I'll ask and be like, hey, so
all you have to
tell
say
me
is
about
lefty.
your compost pile.
Yeah, no, honestly,
your compost
Jess.
pile as a kid. I can see
I
that
also need to let you
conversation
know,
going so amazingly, also not amazingly at all.
No, it's Angie. It's going to go good. And I realize that there are actual pet cemeteries in Vancouver because I did a little research on pet cemeteries for fun, and there are a couple in Vancouver. So
oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I did not. I think I kind of like my research. I sort of focused it to the point of just that book and that song, or that movie and that song. That's all I wanted to know about. So, anyways, behind almost every house, you're gonna find a compost pile where scraps are left. Scraps of vegetables, vegetation, and fruit are left to decompose. Now, what if those scraps came back with a bloodthirsty hunger for the ones that threw them away? Yeah, and then I mean, that's kind of where I wrote that line, and then I kind of fell away from the plot, or I lost, the feeling or something like that, and I kind of just like, oh yeah, well then if it's zombies, then somebody goes crazy at them with an axe, and yeah,
but where's
screw
the brain?
your watermelon.
Like all the things it's unknown territory.
I mean, I guess really when it comes down to it, if it was zombie fruit and it was scraps of that fruit attacking it with a edged weapon, you would just chop them into smaller pieces and then just have smaller
like
fruit
the brooms.
zombies.
Like the brooms on Fantasia.
Yeah, and then they get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then you get zombie fruit dust.
But they're still bloodthirsty for the ones that threw them away.
Yeah. And then, but it did. I mean, that was kind of scary.
Yeah, no,
I scared myself. I think that's why.
Me.
I think that's why I stopped writing.
Yeah, you were like,
it's too
listen,
spooky.
Jess.
Listen, Jess. We need to have a sit down here. Are you sitting down, Jess? Can you do it harder? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So that was the other one, but now I would like to steer us towards where this is where I was like thinking about. I'm like, you know what? This is kind of what it's about, and this is where Mel really helped. So what I've got here is I'm going to reference a book in this book review.
Okay.
Are you excited? I'm excited.
I am.
So let's talk more about Death is Forever. So Death is Forever by Maxine O'Callaghan is very much in the same vein of literature as the classic novel Bunnicula by Deborah and James Howe. And now, if you're not familiar with Bunnicula, I mean, again, it was, I'm sure, New York Times bestseller list. It was all over the place there as a book. Anyways, Bunnicula is a story of a dog and cat duo as they uncover the mystery surrounding the newest pet in their family, and that was a bunny with the markings of Dracula that routinely drains the vegetables and precious juices and vegetable essence, like of the vegetables, like it's like a vampire bunny, and it like bites vegetables and sucks all the juice out, and they got those like white husks of vegetables, and it's like, oh no, it's scary, or something.
I'm scared.
I mean, it's really not hurting anything. It's actually just like doing what a rabbit would do if it was a vampire and did not eat people.
Right. So
did
really
not eat
he's sticking to its normal diet, but just in a new freaky way.
Yeah. It does not hunger for human fruit. So So I'd like to, again, let's talk about Maxine O'Callaghan's book, because, again, it's in the same vein as Bunnicula, classic literature.
Right, and we don't have Bunnicula, so we can't judge that book.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
no,
okay.
and I also remember I read it as a child, and I think I remember too much of it as a child.
To judge
so
it
I don't
fairly.
think I gotta. Yeah, I got it. We gotta push it down the road a little further.
Judge it hair.
It's on the list. So Maxine O'Callaghan's book is it's a much more serious affair. Okay. So
a pair.
Not a serious affair, a serious affair. So, it's going to have some, we're going to have some detectives. We're going to have some crime solving, some of that CSI stuff and all that at that world. So, this book is following the tale of Detective Buttons. And Detective Buttons, you might be asking yourself, who is Detective Buttons? Detective Buttons is a tough-as-nails farm cat who is hot on the heels of a serial killer that's been attacking and killing the fruits and vegetables on her quiet farm. Yeah, this is like gritty. This is
crime
deep
scene
stuff.
investigation.
Yeah. Her farm
It's
is
a
too
fluffy
scared
tale.
to go outside. Too scared to harvest. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I really, really hope that's exactly what this book is about.
Oh, there's more. And I'll tell you a factoid after I get through my little bit here. Don't worry, I've gone through the bit, a bunch of it. And we're on to part 2? I don't know.
Okay.
I guess kind of. So he only strikes at night. In the shadowy silence, cloaked in darkness, leaving behind his calling card, an axe, and a grisly scene of torment and fear. And I guess he doesn't really like watermelons too much, because that's pretty evident. Like, that's a calling card. Yeah, that's sending a message.
That's some Negan crap right there.
And I'm going to leave you with a question here, Candace. Will Detective Buttons uncover the truth before it's too late? Or will this killer succeed in his demented plan?
Well, first of all, you're not really going to leave me, right?
I'm not going to...
I vote Buttons.
Yeah. I'm rooting for... I think it's, again, there's going to be that... those moments kind of getting near the end there, and you're like, oh no, how's Detective Buttons going to get out of this?
Right.
But it's
a farm
trained...
cat.
Yeah, a trained farm cat with...
Right.
I mean, is it like when you become a detective, does that mean you get like a degree, or is it like, how does that work? Like, even if it's like a private detective, like,
I know that being a private, I don't know anything, but I think when you're a private
or like investigator,
that sort of stuff, I think you can do without like a degree. Like, I think you can. That's just me, like, listening to other podcasts and hearing about this and thinking, like, oh, yeah, I could be a private investigator. But I don't know. I think that there was probably quite a bit of, I think you probably have to take the axe to a few watermelons before you could do that. Yeah.
Again, well, I'm going to backtrack there, and I'm going to definitely say, again, this is Detective Buttons. So, I mean, obviously, Detective Buttons has gone through the education system to learn. I mean, if that's learning about, like, psychology or criminology or something like that, she's put her time in. She knows what, how to get into the mind. Like a picture in, like, a big fuzzy orange cat?
I was picturing more like a short-haired tabby with, like, a little bit of,
short
like, maybe
hair.
a chewed ear.
Chewed ear. Well, yeah, the tough as nails, yeah.
Yeah. She looks pretty darn cute. In my head.
Yeah.
But like, don't be fooled. She's got lots backing her up, and she's coming for that serial killer. Serial killer.
Hot on his heels.
Yeah. Well, like, when do you think this book was written, Jess?
Now, I got a feeling that this book...
You got a feeling?
I've got a feline. I have a feeling No, that was stretching a little bit.
You made it work. You were like,
really.
I got a feline. That's good.
It's got that sort of 70s feel. I don't know. Maybe it's got that.
Maybe it was just that pot I was smoking, but it's got a 70s feel.
Yeah. So me and this book had a moment.
Yeah,
and it
your
was
pants
like,
just started bell-bottoming.
They just, they ballooned out, and then it whispered to me, 1970s. Because that's how books talk. They're very whispery creatures, because that's how they live in the library, in the Hall of Whispers,
Must
as
be
books. Well, that's how books refer to the library. That's what we call it, the library. But what books call the library, they call it the Hall of Whispers.
The whisper chamber.
And that's why you have to be quiet in the library.
Yep, it's out of respect for the books.
It's true. Yeah.
That's how they like it. They like whisper halls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do usually have like 2 questions I really like to ask. Can I ask you the next one, or do you have something else to tell me about this? Please
do. And then I have a follow-up chunk of information that's we can address after the fact. So go ahead on that second question.
Jess, who is this book for?
Who would I recommend it for?
That's what I meant to say. You're like, it's for my mama. I'm going to wrap it up right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for asking, Candace. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was really like slipped it in there real smooth like.
That's all good. I kind of, for whatever reason, I found myself to be far too funny in that, so I just paused for a moment. But I would recommend this book to those people that like crime, not necessarily criminals,
right?
But you know how people are like, they kind of like crime, or they like getting into the mind of a killer, which they watch those shows on TV or those other read other books. They actually open the books and they're like, oh, this is information about the Zodiac killer. Oh, spooky. Or, I don't know, that made me afraid. Or that other guy, Jeffrey Dahmer.
John Wayne Gacy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the clown one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he is fucked, man. Like, that's one of my favorite ones. And, like, it's weird because I really am scared. Like, I'm scared of what people can do. I also see the real goodness in people as well. But, like, I am so interested in those stories. Like, I never want that to be anything close to, like, my story, and I feel like crazy feelings about it, but I am one of those people. I watch all those kinds of crime shows. I watch the Netflix specials that are like 12 episodes of to figure out what actually happened. I like to yell at the TV and be like, he fucking killed her. Or he didn't.
It was him.
That watermelon didn't even stand a chance. Doesn't have arms.
Yeah, can't even roll, really.
No, that's, as we already talked about, there would be a weird wobbly roll, and it's hard to get away from a clown killer. Jesus, I'm so afraid of that.
So again, I would say that I would recommend this to people that enjoy the crime or the science of crime and that kind of stuff.
You're saying you would suggest it to me.
Yeah, I would also recommend
at it.
And also cats. People that enjoy cats. So,
Ooh, me again.
That's the
Piper,
two.
we got it right.
There you go.
You promised me another little...
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry, I gapped out
there.
for a second there. Thank you for steering this wayward ship, Candace. Yeah, so while we were doing research for this, Mel was getting a little bit more... She would take the book... She took it to help me get inspired. She said, so you don't ever, like, open the book, do you? I'm like, I never open the book. She's like, do you ever look at the back? I'm like, I never look at the back. She's like, holy crap, that's got to take some self-control. I'm like, this is my
like, yeah,
burden
baby.
to bear. This is, yeah, baby. And then I smoked more pot.
I'm kind of feeling a bit jealous right now. I'm like, gosh, I wish that... my boyfriend Tyler just looks at me and says, have fun in there. Which is just as sweet. That's very sweet.
Yeah. And we love Tyler. He's great. He's so awesome.
Yeah, and then he opens the vault to the podcasting basement, and I wave as smoke and bats come out, and
smoke and bats and cat detectives.
And I
so
locked
yeah,
the
the
door
other bit
behind
was
me.
so she was really getting into this book. She was opening it. She's looking at the back and the inside pages, and she even ended up typing in, doing some research on the author and checking out some of her other works and that kind of stuff. Apparently, this book has another cover.
Oh, yes, of course.
There's another cover for this book that she showed it to me, but I can't bring it up on this podcast because I don't own the book, so I can't talk about it.
One of the rules is that we have to have the books in our hands. Well,
which is why we just can't go to the... Yeah. That's a totally other experience of what this book is about. I will say one thing about it. It has nothing to do with fruit, which right then and there, do you know what I am then feeling towards that book?
What's that?
I am done with it. I say good day, book, and then I closed the window that it was on my computer, so I didn't have to look at it anymore. Get away from me,
click, click,
vile bookie temptress.
Mm-hmm. Screw you and your different covers. Well, thank you so much for listening. It's the end of the show. This is Candace and Jess, judge a book by its cover. I, as always, am Candace.
And I am, as always, am Jess.
Mm-hmm. You just keep on being Jess.
Yep, that's who I am. I'm gonna cue that outro music.